Geberit in-wall flush toilet systems for wall-hung toilets are the classics of modern bathroom design, with millions of installations worldwide for more than 50 years. In this video, we'll review the steps to install our DuoFix 2x4 carrier system. Inside the box, you'll find the following components: carrier and tank, a waste fitting or discharge elbow, a 3-inch shielded coupling for plastic-to-plastic connections, mounting hardware, including a 1/2-inch supply stop and sweat solder elbow, a mud guard and protection covers, installation guide, and bowl installation kit. Be sure to keep this kit in a safe spot until the wall is finished. The wall should use minimum 2x4 frame construction. To begin, construct a space between studs to accommodate the carrier frame. This space should be 19 3/4 inches wide. For 6-inch or deeper wall cavities, the waste fitting may run horizontally to the right or left, or vertically through the floor. Our installation today will use a 2x6 cavity with a vertical drain. For additional fitting options, consult our catalog or your sales representative. Next, drill a hole through the sill and floor for a 3-inch drain pipe. The pipe can be PVC, ABS, cast iron, or copper. The pipe stub out should be centered in the opening, with the center of the drain 3.5 inches from the front of the sill. Before installing the frame, you must determine the desired height of the bowl and mark the height on the frame studs. Be sure to have the bowl dimensional cut sheet for reference. For compatible toilet bowls, refer to our Clean Design brochure. First, mark the height of the finished floor on the stud. Starting with the height of the finished floor, mark the desired height of the seat and the toilet mounting rods relative to the seat height, as defined by the toilet bowl cut sheet or rough-in drawing. Now it's time to prep the carrier for installation. Start by loosening the bolts for the legs at the bottom of the carrier. With the bolts loosened, step on the carrier feet and pull up to adjust the carrier to the correct elevation. Carefully position the carrier inside the framed opening. Confirm that the carrier is flush with the front of the vertical studs. The holes on the carrier for the toilet mounting rods should be aligned with the mark you made on the studs. Adjust the carrier height if necessary. Use the scribe mark on the carrier frame to help you identify the rod height. With the carrier correctly positioned, mark the 6 anchor points. Carefully remove the carrier from the wall. Using the marks for the anchor points, drill 4 3/8-inch holes in the vertical studs. Drill 3/16-inch pilot holes using the marks on the bottom board for lag screws. Place the carrier back into the opening. Before securing in place, you must make sure that the carrier is flush with the studs. Secure the 2 feet of the carrier by inserting a lag screw with a metal washer into each of the pilot holes. Do not tighten completely. You may secure the sides of the carrier frame with lag screws or bolts. In this example, we'll use through bolts and washers to attach the frame to the wall studs. Confirm that the carrier is level. Make any necessary adjustments. Once you've confirmed the carrier is level, tighten all the bolts, including the bolts you loosened to extend the legs of the carrier. Now it's time to install the lower bracket for the discharge elbow. There are 2 mounting locations for the bracket. The location you choose depends on the position of the discharge pipe or the wall cavity depth. For wall cavity minimum 3.5 inches, position the discharge pipe 1 3/4 inches from the front of the sill. Use the back bracket position. Be sure that the bracket is oriented correctly for the back position, with the tabs of the bracket facing in. For wall cavity minimum 5.5 inches, position the discharge pipe at 3.5 inches from the front of the sill. Use the front bracket position. Insert the upper bracket for the discharge elbow into the proper position. Push firmly down until it snaps in place. Be sure that the bracket is oriented correctly for the front position, with the tabs of the bracket facing out. Place the discharge elbow into the lower bracket to determine the approximate length that will allow it to cover the discharge pipe and sit firmly in the bracket. Cut the elbow to match that length. Loosen and place the 3-inch shielded coupling over the bottom of the elbow. Position the elbow over the discharge pipe. Once properly positioned, push the elbow firmly into the upper bracket. Place the lower bracket onto the elbow. Listen for the click to know the lower bracket is correctly secured. With the bracket connected, secure the bottom of the elbow to the discharge pipe by tightening the clamp. To begin the water supply connection, remove the splash guard panel located at the top of the tank by pushing down on the 2 tabs at the top of the panel. Carefully push out the round knockout located at the top of the tank. Your water supply assembly should include the provided supply elbow and stop, plus a piece of supply piping cut to the right length. The supply stop features 1/2-inch male NPT thread and can accept PEX, flexible PVC, and other supply piping. Install this assembly through the knockout in the tank. With the stop outlet positioned at the 3 o'clock position, secure the water supply in place by tightening the mounting ring onto the front of the supply stop. Once secure, connect the stub to your main water line. Attach the tank supply line to the Geberit stop by removing the protective plastic sleeve and inserting the line firmly into the stop. Tighten by hand, do not use a wrench to tighten. Replace the splash guard. Attach the mud guard over the splash guard. Listen for the click. Screw the toilet bowl mounting rods into the proper positions. The depth of the rods is not critical at this point. Place a yellow mud protection sleeve over each mounting rod. Place the yellow protection plugs into the flush and discharge pipe openings. The carrier is ready for the finished wall. Don't forget to take the bowl installation kit before you leave the job site. You'll need that once the wall is finished. When determining overall finished wall thickness during the design phase, it's important to keep the actuator selection in mind. Most flush actuators are intended for finish wall thickness from 3/4 inches to 3.5 inches and work with most finishing materials, including tile, stone, and paneling. However, mirror and glass wall materials are not recommended. With the wall complete, remove the yellow protection plugs and seals from the pipes and rods. Measure the thickness of the back of the toilet near the holes for the mounting rods. Use that measurement plus another 3/4 of an inch to adjust the length of the mounting rods. Now it's time to prep the flush pipe and waste pipe for the bowl installation. First, attach the rubber seal to the end of the waste pipe. Attach the ribbed rubber flange to the end of the flush pipe. Lubricate the opening on the tank for the flush pipe. Push the flush pipe into the opening, turning while pushing, until it stops. Lubricate the waste opening. Insert the waste pipe into the opening, once again turning while you push until it stops. Using a straight edge, mark the waste pipe where it meets the finished wall. Repeat that step for the flush pipe. Remove both pipes from the wall. On the back of the bowl, lubricate the opening for the flush pipe. Insert the end of the flush pipe with the ribbed flange into the opening. Using a straight edge, mark the flush pipe where it meets the edge of the toilet. Now, insert the waste pipe onto the toilet firmly. Using a straight edge, mark the waste pipe where it meets the edge of the toilet. Remove both pipes from the toilet bowl. Measure the distance between the 2 marks on the flush pipe. Use that measurement plus 1/8 of an inch to mark your cut line on the flush pipe. Cut the flush pipe on that mark. Now, measure the distance between your 2 marks on the waste pipe. Use that measurement plus 1/8 of an inch to mark your cut line on the waste pipe. Cut the waste pipe on that mark. Lubricate the flush and waste openings in the wall. Place the sound insulation pad in position over the bolts. Now, insert the flush pipe. Turn while pushing until it stops. Next, insert the waste pipe. Turn while pushing until it stops. Lubricate the ribbed flange of the flush pipe. Carefully position the bowl so that the supply and waste flanges are firmly seated and the mounting rods protrude through the opening in the bowl. Secure the bowl in place with the rod sleeve, washer, and nut. Hand tighten the nuts onto the mounting rods. Confirm that the bowl is level. Tighten the nuts on both sides of the bowl. Be careful not to over-tighten. Snap bolt caps in place on both sides of the bowl. Using a utility knife, carefully trim the sound insulation pad around the contour of the bowl. Now add a bead of caulk between the bowl and the wall. For concealed bowl installation, consult the bowl manufacturer's instructions for setting the length of the rods. Attach the bowl manufacturer's mounting bullets over the rods. Confirm the mounting bullet extends to the length recommended by the bowl manufacturer. Position the sound insulation pad over the mounting bullets. Lubricate the openings for the flush and waste pipes. Insert the flush and waste pipes. Turn the pipes while pushing until they stop. With the bowl positioned into the flanges and over the mounting bullets, secure it to the wall from underneath the bowl. Insert the Allen wrench into the mounting nuts and turn to tighten. Using a utility knife, carefully trim the sound insulation pad around the contour of the bowl. Now add a bead of caulk between the bowl and the wall. With the bowl installed, it's time to install the actuator. Start by removing the face cap from the mudguard. Using a utility knife, cut the inside of the mudguard at the 4 corners. Be sure to cut all the way through the plastic. Once the corners are cut, bend and break away the 4 mudguard panels. Be sure the panels do not extend out past the finished wall. Next, remove the splash guard. Remove the flush actuator gearbox. With the stop closed, disconnect the supply hose. Open the stop and flush the line for 30 seconds. Close the stop and reconnect the supply line. Open the stop and check for leaks. Replace the flush actuator gearbox. Replace the splash guard. It's time to install the 2 actuator bolts. If the wall is under 2 inches thick, snap the bolts to shorten. Position the black mounting frame over the actuator opening with the wire spring bar facing the floor. Insert the actuator bolts as shown with the head pointing toward the center and turn 90 degrees. Slide the blue buttons on the upper left and lower right corners toward the center to lock the mounting frame in place. It should be flush against the wall with no gap. Next, install the 2 actuator rods. Once again, if the wall is less than 2 inches thick, snap the rods to shorten. The actuator rods have integral bolt locks to help hold them securely in place. Insert each rod into the actuator and turn 90 degrees until the integral lock snaps securely into the frame. Install the flush actuator plate, starting at the bottom by engaging the wire spring. Lift and slide over the top of the mounting plate. Test to make sure the toilet flushes properly. For single flush actuators, install a single actuator rod in the left position. Position the rocker clip over the actuator rod and snap into the mounting plate. Attach the flush actuator plate by engaging the spring on the bottom and sliding over the top. Test the flush and carefully check for any leaks. Your Geberit in-wall toilet tank system is complete and will provide years of trouble-free, space-saving operation. For more information, visit us at geberit.us or contact your nearest Geberit showroom.